All right. Next time I'll get a straw. I'm trying to make as little noise as possible when I get that drink. I don't want to sit here with a dry mouth and then pretend that you guys don't notice. You know, I go, oh, wait a minute. What is this? I see that we have some breaking news here. All right. This just in, folks. This just in. Jen Psaki. Jen Psaki has COVID-19. Oh, my gosh. COVID-19. This proves that even Mark Zuckerberg in a wig pretending to be the White House press secretary isn't safe from the dreaded China virus. No. Okay. I'm kidding. Well, kind of kidding. You know, Jen Psaki getting COVID's not the worst thing that can happen. You know, she's got the sniffles and we don't have to hear her talk for a few days. Isn't that great? We don't have to hear a word, hopefully not, come out of Psaki's mouth. She really does look like Mark Zuckerberg in a wig. Come on. You know she does. Come on, man. You know she does, all right? She's condescending. She's cold. She's an arrogant person. And you know what? I think she hates men. I really think she hates men. And there's a lot of women out there like that. And most of them are on the left. Big surprise, right? Big surprise. Oh, can you imagine being married to her? Can you imagine coming home to Jen Psaki? Oh, God. Oh, I got the shivers. Could you imagine dinner with a Jen Psaki and the kids? Could you imagine the conversation like the movie American Beauty? You remember that part where they're sitting at the table? It's I forget his name. It's the actor that didn't tell people he was gay and then started touching guys. He got canceled a long time ago. I know his face. I can picture his face. I don't even know why I didn't write that down as a bullet point. I really should. But anyway, it's the guy from American Beauty. He's sitting across the table. All right. There's Jen Psaki. All right. We're all, well, I don't want to compare us to the guy from American Beauty, but hey, let's just imagine it's the scene, not necessarily the actor. All right. And you're past the asparagus, please. Yes, dear. I bet you have to ask Jen Psaki permission for everything. I bet her husband has to ask her for permission for everything. I wonder what she watches on TV. Do you think her husband ever gets the remote? Do you think that if you were sitting with Jen Psaki and she was watching the new Charlie's Angels or the 2016 woke Ghostbusters for the 700th time or the, what is it, Miss Marvel movie, that woke masterpiece there, do you think she would hand you the remote? Do you think she would let you put on, I don't know, Monday Night Football? Probably not. Could you imagine on a road trip? No radio control for you. You're not listening to the American Reveille on that road trip. No, you're probably listening to, I don't know, Florence and the Machine. Do you think maybe she listens to Fleetwood Mac? I don't know. I wonder maybe Cardi B. She could listen to Cardi B. Maybe that's her type of, well, you know, I can't imagine Jen Psaki having anything close to a WAP. So Cardi B is out of the picture. If anything, I would think Rage Against the Machine or Eminem, basically any male music artist with a very, very tiny set of testicles. That's what I would expect Jen Psaki to have. So I can't imagine Cardi B. Look, either way, being with her must be horrible. I feel so bad for her husband. I feel bad for her husband because I used to be with somebody I've been with a couple people that turned out to be like a Jen Psaki before I was married to my wonderful current wife, who is my forever wife. I'm saying that out loud, and I mean that wholeheartedly. I really do. I know this sounds sarcastic and jokey, but I really do. Love my wife 1,000 times over. But I'm going to say, I wouldn't want to be married to Jen Psaki. Not one bit. I wouldn't want to be. And I know exactly how that marriage would go. I know how it would go. First, all right, I want to be clear about this. First of all, you'd have to submit to her. All right. everything that she says, she'd always be right. Always, always, always. Not that women aren't always right anyway, because you are, but she would have to be really, 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 really right all the time, or life would be miserable. She's never cooking dinner. All right. And I'm not saying women need to be cooking dinner all the time. I'm just saying that in a relationship, in a marriage, it's a give and take. Sometimes the wife cooks, sometimes the husband cooks, sometimes the wife cooks all the time, sometimes the husband cooks all the time. It's really just dependent on the variable, but it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if you worked 700 million hours a day and Jen Psaki worked 1 day a week. You would come home. She'd be on the couch in her pajamas still. It'd be 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. She'd still be in her pajamas, eating a bowl of cereal, asking you why the house is trashed and what you're cooking for dinner while you're holding your bags, your tools, your gear covered in sweat, covered in the dirt of the day. That's what kind of person Jen Psaki is. And I can prove it. I can prove that she's a terrible, terrible, emasculating person because I've done some research on her husband, Greggy Poo. Greggy! Greg, her husband, Gregory Metcher. That's his name. Gregory Metcher. All right? I want to take a look at this article. I'm not going to read through it. I told you, we're doing different stuff. I'm not reading articles anymore. I've highlighted some facts, though, in here. All right? I've highlighted some facts. And the first thing I want to do, though, I'm looking at a picture. All right? I'm looking at this picture of Jen Psaki's husband. Jen Psaki's husband, Gregory Metcher. The first thing I notice, folks, is that he has a different last name than Jen. That is usually, unless for business purposes, but this guy's only been in politics. She's pretty much only done politics. He has a different last name. She has a different last name. And you know what that means? That means that she wears the pants. She wouldn't take his last name because in this new world, a woman shouldn't have to take a man's last name. Meh. Well, what about women that want to take a man's last name? Well, they hurt the cause for what? See, nobody gets what they want. All right. It's always somebody's way or the highway. Jen Psaki wears the pants in this family. I'm looking at this guy's face and he looks so feminine. He literally looks like, well, he's not that feminine because he looks like the Health and Human Services Assistant Secretary in mid-transition. All right, that's what he looks like. He looks like that Levine character. He looks like a half man, half woman, somewhere lost in transition, which is very, very different than the movie Lost in Translation. Very different. Hi, Rachel. Hi. Just curious how long your hair is now. You're still a man. Listen, this guy can't even grow a beard. He has no life experience besides politics. He does. Look, she's trained him so well. She's trained him so well, just like she would do to you, just like she would do to me. She sits there on her ivory tower. She sits there looking down like she knows more than you, looking down her nose, arrogant, egotistical, better than you, cracking the whip and lecturing those around her on race, gender, equality. And her husband's no different. He definitely is the submissive, the beta in the relationship, the cuck of the house. This is what she had to say about him. He's so comfortable in his own skin with who he is. He could be in a room with 5-year-olds. He could be in a room with billionaires. He could be in a room on a factory floor and he would be comfortable everywhere and he would have a conversation everywhere. Good boy. Good Greggy. Greggy's a good doggy. Good doggy Greggy. Go lick the 5-year-old. You're the good Greggy. Go play with the billionaires. He is such a good little lapdog. He is. This thing goes on to talk about how Jen Psaki met her husband, and I don't care. I don't care about that. I'm going to turn the page on that because that would be the worst television show ever. Could you imagine watching the Jen Psaki, Greggy Metcher, mystery hour. How did they meet? When will they fall in love? Will Greggy get up the confidence to kiss Jen? And will she punch him in the face for trying and then accuse him of rape and call the police? Find out next time on When Jenny Met Greggy. No, terrible, horrible, horrible idea. But she is worth $2 million. What? This is a lady who's been in politics. Her maximum salary's been like 180 something. Married to a guy only in politics, worth $2 million. I'm in the wrong business. I work in aerospace. I do a lot of electronic repairs. I do a lot of things for military application. I don't make anywhere near what Jen Psaki has. I don't have a $2 million. I don't have $1 million. I don't have $500K. I don't have $10K. Jen Psaki's walking around with $2 million. What in Lord's name? Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. I don't envy Greg whatsoever. God, there's more pictures of him here. I'm looking at him standing on the White House lawn. He looks even more feminine in this picture. Oh my gosh. What a poor beat down puppy dog. Maybe he's or maybe he's out of his mind. I haven't done much research on Greg outside of this segment. I just wanted a chance to use him to make Jen look even worse, because she is a horrible human being. She's a classic controlling narcissist. This lady does not refer to her own children as he and she. She refers to her children as humans under 5. Little humans, you know what, let's try it. Like, I've always wanted to do one of these. Little humans under 5. That whole clapping while getting mad thing. Little humans under 5. That's what she calls her kids. God forbid you talk about gender in front of Jen Psaki. She's a Marxist. She's a robot. She's a runaway freight train just looking for a target, just looking to smash into anything she can and destroy it. Make no mistake about it. Jen Psaki wants this country to burn. No mistake about it, folks. None at all. And speaking of trains, and by the way, just to add in, like I said, when we do this for a couple more weeks, we get our timing better. You see, I didn't plan out times on this first episode, even though it's episode 178. I didn't plan out times. What I did was I wrote all this stuff. I put it all together. I put the bullet points out. I planned it. I did the producer's job, which is me. And then I'm doing the talent's job, which is me, right? That's what I did. But down the road, we're going to tighten things up. Things are going to have certain time limits on them. We're going to be able to call a break. We're going to be able to say right here at this moment, 15 minutes in, 30 minutes in, 45 minutes in, however many minutes in. I think probably if I'm timing this right in my head while I'm talking, we're probably at 33, 34 minutes, something like that. But if we were at 30, I'd be able to say this is where the break's going to be. I'd be able to hit a button, hit the buffer music while we're going live, transmit this through the equipment that I'm going to be purchasing to AM stations, to FM stations, to stations across the country, allowing us to go national. All right, we can do that, but we're going to have to work together. We're going to have to practice in any endeavor, especially a creative endeavor. It's repetition, repetition, repetition. So I need you to repeat listening to me, and I'm going to repeat doing this until it becomes great. And we're going to do that together, folks. We're going to do that together. But speaking of runaway freight trains, I have invented a segment, all right? It's a segment that I want to do on certain episodes. Maybe I'll keep doing it depending on whether you guys like it or not. But I'm calling it Worldwide Degeneration. Planes, trains, and automobiles. That's right, folks. Segment 2, Worldwide Degeneration, planes, trains, and automobiles. If you're watching, you see me going through all these papers. These are different articles that I've read already, different things that I went through. This is just for this show today. Dozens of articles. I've got notes in them, different things like that. That's the work it's going to take to bring you guys a quality show. And I know I'm breaking kind of like that fourth wall or whatever by really talking to you about the show and telling you what I'm going to do, but I want to be open with you. I want you to be a part of this. It's you and me. And as we go through the next couple weeks, the next couple months, we're really going to fine tune this.